But even if a fighter is stumbling and move and wobbling, that's a part of the game, right? But as long as I'm coherent and I know where I'm at and I'm seeing them punches coming, I'm able to dodge and move, that doesn't give you the right to intervene. So with Shavkat, he's trying to make the most, and that's good for him, being smart, making the smartest decision, like, no, let me keep going where I'm going because I'm at the route of the belt. But I want to tell fighters right now, that belt ain't promised to nobody.
Julian Marquez versus Zachary Reese. I'm gonna rely on you on this one. The fight was so short, and no diss to Marquez, but I went to get some food, and by the time I came back, it was already over.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Brick Brother Podcast, man. Before we get started, what I need y'all to do, man, like, subscribe, and share our video. All right, if y'all love what we doing, please do those things for me to get a bigger reach onto our channel. We're doing great things right now. We're going to try to push out more videos and be consistent with this. But, yeah, do those 3 things for me, man. And, hey, let's get the show started. So, yeah, man, what we got going on today, bro?
Man, good night of fights over the weekend.
Yeah.
It was good to see the Cannonier card. It was good. Fight night. What was it at again?
It was in Louisville, Kentucky. Good old KFC Yum Yum arena.
Broke some.
And I ain't gonna lie to you though, when UFC put that Instagram post and they put Cannonier as the first post, as I said they think they slick. I like, look, all brothers love chicken, but man, they ain't have to make my dude the first post on their dog. Right. That shit crazy. They could have put Nasruddin first and then put, but I think they knew what they was doing. That admin knew what he was doing. Yeah.
It broke numbers, so I guess it worked, right?
Yes, it did. But yeah, the fights was good though, man. A lot of good finishes. I think a lot of people were expecting to try to see finishes, definitely with these new gloves that we have. And a lot of people was talking about that, like, damn, we ain't seen the finish yet with these new gloves, but we got to see them this fight card, man. A lot of good finishes on this one.
No, it was good, especially I thought the last pay-per-view was a little lackluster. The main event was fantastic, but this fight was a lot more entertaining and a lot better matchups, in my opinion.
Yeah. So which fights that we looking at right here?
We can just go over the main card. We had Miguel Baeza versus Punahele Soriano, your weight class.
I ain't gonna lie to you. There's a couple fights on here that I thought fighters was already cut. So it was a couple on there. I'm like, damn, he's still fighting, huh? So Miguel Baeza, to see him come out, and I was like, all right, cool. Let's see how he do. Who he fight again?
Punahele Soriano.
Yeah, Puna. I know Puna. I trained with both of these guys. So I trained with Puna in Vegas, and I trained with Baeza. And I really thought it would be more of a competitive fight, but Puna got Buddy up out of there, did him, dirty. I mean, I'm talking about them 4 losses in a row for Baeza.
Yeah.
Man.
So Puna was coming off a string of losses, too. I think he got finished the last 2 fights he had. So it was interesting to see him have a comeback fight for.
Was this Puna first fight in the welterweight division, I think?
No, I think he's been at welterweight.
Been a couple of them?
Yeah, I think he's fought mostly at welterweight, but he just had a kind of hit a rough patch of late. Mm-hmm. He might have fought at 85 too, but
so yeah, they was fighting for their contract. Yeah. Point blank period.
Fighting for their life, but yeah. I thought it would be a back and forth fight, or somebody would go to sleep early. But it was pretty much just a one-sided affair.
No, it was. I mean, I don't know why Baeza was going to his back so much. He was trying to make it a jiu-jitsu fight, right? I know that he wouldn't be the favorite to win in the striking element, but at the end of the day, you got to set these things up, right? And if you're going to initiate it, don't initiate it off your back. Try to be the one to pressure forward and try to initiate the takedown and try to pressure somebody, off of their back, right? I think there's more high-level submissions that can be performed, like the head and arm choke, or just the mount position, right? Where you be able to get your submissions off instead of off your back. Yeah, we seen what Kevin Holland was able to do, but the reason why Kevin Holland was able to submit Buddy like that, Michael or Michelle or something like that, right? Because the dude rolled into the arm bar and left his arm straight out there. All he had to do was stack Kevin and he would have been fine.
He was so eager to finish,
Exactly, right? But going back on Baeza, he forced himself in a lot of bad position and was taking just too much damage, bro, the whole fight, man. So, it is what it is, but I really feel like a lot of guys got to stop using, like, so much techniques off of their back, because I think jits still is not the greatest form in MMA unless it's on top.
I agree.
In my opinion,
Yeah, even if you look at guys like Damian Maia, he learned how to get a good takedown. Gilbert Burns playing on top instead of playing off their back.
Right.
Every time, the old saying is every time you get hit, you lose a belt.
Yeah.
You take a black belt to a brown belt, so on and so forth. But I thought that Miguel Baeza would have a better chance if the fight was shorter, and Punale would have a better fight if the fight went on longer. Puna just has that cardio, that grit.
Yeah.
He's very, very tough. He pushes the pace. And the fact that it went all 3 rounds, I wasn't surprised to see Punale be so dominant with the amount of strikes that he landed.
That's 100, man. So, yeah, we ain't gonna be seeing Baeza no more, unfortunately.
He's pretty young though. I'm sure he said that.
Nah, the UFC be cutting niggas.
Yeah, he could be back though. It's fine.
Yeah.
Julian Marquez versus Zachary Reese. I'm gonna rely on you on this one. The fight was so short, and no diss to Marquez, but I went to get some food, and by the time I came back, it was already over.
Julian Marquez, he got to do some sit-ups. He got to do some conditioning for them abs. Cause when I seen the body already being pudgy, I already knew what was gonna happen. But the dude that he fought, beautiful setup, liver kick, straight to an uppercut. Fight over. You ain't miss much. You ain't miss much. Look, and this is the worst part. Julian Marquez got up talking to Dan Mergliata, talking about, hey, bro, what happened, bro? Like, literally in the middle of, like, really? yeah, talking about, oh, no, man, I was good, though, bro. I was straight. I'm like, nah, bro, you got knocked out. Clean. No, it was not debatable. Look, Dan Mergliata was like, nigga, stop talking to me, nigga. Nigga, I'm with the winner. Anyways, though, yeah, it was a quick fight, quick ending. And, I don't know. It was something nice about that fight, man, when I watched it. I don't know why.
You took some satisfaction in
just a little bit. But yet again, I ain't know Julian Marquez was still fighting for the UFC low key. He gone now.
No, I think he'll be back, honestly.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, he just kind of with
Can you remember his last win?
Can
you remember his last win?
I do not. But what I will say, and this is to Julian Marquez's credit, right? Yeah. I like to give the other perspective. Julian is in the kind of fight usually where either he wins in spectacular fashion
or he loses.
Or the other person will win in spectacular fashion. And there's some business in that. So I think he'll be back. You can call him a lot of things, but you can't call him boring.
That's on it, because he do got a lot of good finishes. I ain't gonna lie. He got
on either side, so you gotta give him his credit. So I say that. That's a nice way to end that one. Anyway, we got Bruno Ferreira versus Dustin Stolfus. This was a good fight.
Yeah. This fight was a war, Nothing technical in this fight whatsoever. They just banging, And you got to love it because Stoffel, right, he was winning the majority of the fight. And was it Bruno or Silva? Not Silva, I'm sorry. I said Bruno Silva.
Yeah.
Ferreira, right? So Ferreira, when he was on his heels and he was getting hurt, right, he only got one shot. That's why they call him the Hawk. As soon as he landed that one punch, he kind of knocked Stoffel back. I think it was a body shot that really kind of hurt him and put him on his heels now, right? Now both guys is hurt, and now they just exchanging. So I'm looking at this like somebody finna get knocked out, but you don't know who it's finna be. And the beautiful part about it is that the referee can see that he can allow this fight to keep going because both fighters are throwing, right? There's not a moment where, okay, you see one fighter is hurt and he's not doing anything, right? He just taking punches to the face. He's still throwing. So you got to give that fighter the respect that, he's been working this, been conditioned, and is a trained professional to keep going after this fight and could possibly win. So seeing that transaction and that beautiful art of chaos, right? Seeing that spinning back elbow that the Hawk did was crazy, man, because he threw it just with the bad intentions in the world, right? And dropped my man straight to his knees, man. And then the fight was over. Obviously, you can call it out right there, but I believe I think Dan Mergliata was also refereeing. He did a great night. He had a great night. I ain't gonna lie.
He had a great single ref.
Yeah.
So we should rate like the best.
Just want to give him a shout out.
MVP of reffing.
Yeah. Just want to give him a little shout out. But regardless, though, that exchange though, that was fun to watch. Yeah,
it was a good fight. For as long as it lasted, Stolfus and Ferreira, both are scrappy. I thought that Bruno, because his last fight was the Ruzaboyev, right?
Yeah.
He'd have a lot to prove coming off of that loss. He looked good early, and it was a barn burner for as long as it lasted. And then the finish was awesome with the spinning back elbow. But it looked like he got himself in a bit of trouble right before that, where Stoppages looked like
he did.
Was about
like
to
I said,
finish.
man, they was just going blinded, just in the closet, just in the dark room, just
Phone
going
booth,
bop, 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 the phone booth. But very exciting just to see two athletes being able to do that, and the referee understanding and recognizing that these two athletes is,
I thought
doing
you
their
throwing
job.
shade at somebody.
Nah, I ain't throwing no shade.
I feel a little
We
shade
get there.
thrown, but yeah, shout out Bruno, great victory, highlight finish for real. Like you don't see that too many of those. And then we had Raul Rosas Jr. Versus Ricky Tercios.
Boy, that's man, that child. I ain't gonna lie, man. I still want to call CPS, man. Somebody gonna do that boy dirty, but he had a great fight though.
He did.
He did very well. He was in some bad positions himself, right? Survived, got up out of there. I don't think he got out of there technically, but that chin protect that neck. You see how long his chin is?
Oh my god!
I like they measure our reach, right? I like to see if they measure his chin, because I think his chin, it was protecting his neck the whole time when my nigga had that bitch. He was trying to choke that nigga, but he couldn't. You hear me?
Oh my Lord.
But regardless though, great fight though.
But I have to interrupt you because it is funny.
Yeah.
I won't say nothing about his chin, but he was getting choked and he wasn't even fighting like the choking.
He
hand.
had to.
He was.
That nigga got that crimson chin, nigga.
Jesus Christ. But go ahead.
But no, the fight was cool. He struggled on his feet a little bit, right? But the kid understood that, okay, I'm not having success right here. Let's switch it up. Went straight to the takedown, and he controlled the majority of the round, right? Kept was it Ricky, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kept Ricky on his back. Ricky trying to survive, trying to get in situations, but kid is strong, right? You can see him that when he had Ricky on his back, that he just clasped him, just holding the whole time, not really trying to change his position or trying to get a dominant spot where he can, find a submission, but just to control the fight the whole time. And I think that's kind of smart for Buddy, right? Just win this round. But Ricky ended up finding a situation where he could get back up to his feet, kind of switch, the scenario. I think he grabbed the cage, what I'm saying, a couple times, but it still was unsuccessful, right? Was it the second round or the first round where Ricky got Junior back?
Oh,
was it the first round or the second?
I think it was
the first round.
I think it was the first round, and then the second round.
So
Ricky came
Ricky ended the fight well, but it was still great dominance by young man. So with him getting that submission on him and changing it up in the second round, the boy talented, man. He definitely gonna be a problem for a lot of these dudes, man.
So in this fight, it was really interesting. We saw Rosas Jr. come out in one of his previous fights and just look to dominate, get way too excited, go for the takedown, try to go 1,000,000 miles per hour. In this fight, I thought he was patient. I thought Ricky, obviously we saw him on Ultimate Fighter, very tough guy, very durable. He was patient.
Winner too, yeah,
right? Very, very poised and patient. He didn't just go and try to get everything out of the first round. He had to be tough mentally when he got reversed, and I thought the reversal was due to a fence grab, honestly. And then just to be smart and diligent, and then go back to the position in the second round, and then chase the finish himself with the same position he was in. I thought it showed really good evolution. He's only 19 years old, and I think we'll see him develop in the cage. It'll take time for him to reach that level of being super competent everywhere. But I think he was surprised that you can't just run through everybody in the UFC. It's not going to happen.
No.
You're not just going to take everybody down and submit them. So I think this is good for his development. And, in 5 years, 6 years, man, this kid could be.
I know. He's going to be a problem. For sure. He once that money, I'm sure he's going to be looking a little better, once he gets some money in his pocket. But he got a bonus, though. He got a bonus. I don't think he got the 100,000 like he wanted it, but definitely well-deserved, man, to get that 50K, though, for sure.
Tough night, because there was a lot of good finishes. We won't talk about every fight, but it was a lot of good finishes. For sure. So, and then the co-main event was Dominic Reyes versus Dustin Jacoby. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I could have shed a tear
on I love. So I was watching the fight with my granny. I said, "Grandma, I'm gonna just step out real quick," because I couldn't watch it because I really felt like this was gonna be the end. Like I thought Jacoby was really gonna get down. I'm just keeping it a buck. I thought Jacoby was really gonna get Dominic Reyes up out of there, right? But I couldn't, my heart couldn't help but watch that, because at the end of the day, I really thought that Dominic Reyes had the saddest story in MMA history. You go toe-to-toe with arguably, not even no argue, with the best, pound for pound, as Dana would say, right? John Jones, beating him. And then once you get robbed of a decision and you don't win that belt, you go on a back to back KO losses, all in the first round, I believe.
Even crazier. Undefeated before it.
So the only person you did lose to at that time was John Jones.
And a lot of people think that wasn't even a loss itself. So all of us think, right, he's going to go on to be the champion. John said he's going to do heavyweight.
He's running the heavyweight now.
We think Dominic Reyes is going to be the new champ. But no.
Jan Blachowicz.
KO.
Yuri Prohaska.
KO.
Ryan Spann.
KO.
I'm missing somebody.
But insane, right? No, right. I think that was it. I think
okay.
Four losses, but all consecutive. So John Jones.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that was the fourth, right there. Yeah.
All consecutive.
And it, like I said, with that being said, it's just like, to me, that's like one of the saddest stories. So I was like, man, I ain't really trying to watch this, but I heard my granny just making some noise. I was like, damn, Dominic Reyes knocked out.
Not again.
Come back. It's Jacoby, nigga, all on the case. I said, he did it, boy. Oh, man, miracle story. Because that's the Cinderella story down there, right? For him. It was a beautiful thing, because when people count you out, right, as long as you believe in yourself, that's what's the beautiful thing about this sport. It don't matter how many people count you out. As long as you believe in yourself, single, you can do great things, right? Even Dominic Reyes had questioned himself, but he was like, nah, I ain't going to do that. I'm going to stay in the gym, and I'm going to continue to get better. No matter if I keep failing, I'm going to keep rising up to this occasion, man, and taking the call. It's a beautiful story, and I think it can motivate a lot of fighters that's on that type of tear, right? That's bad knockouts, right? Not just losses by decision, but straight knockout losses. Things happen in MMA, right? When you go out there and you putting yourself out there, anything can happen at any given moment, regardless if you're the better fighter or not. So with that being said, you have to always believe in your skill sets, and also realize that we all have things to improve on no matter what, win or lose. So Dominic Reyes, man, shout out to him, because like I said, bro, any other weaker man, boy, probably would have gave up 100.
To see, like I said, just a free fall. Like, you have to be honest for what it is. This isn't to make fun of or mock, but to see somebody at the pinnacle, the highest of the sport, highest of the highs, and arguably could have been him as the champion. Okay, it didn't go his way. We think that he's next up, as I alluded to before. And then to see him not just lose, but get, knocked out, not good at all. I think probably 5 years from his last win.
Yeah, 4 years actually.
That type of belief, that type of persistence, that type of mental toughness to get through that. Honestly, I'm not even kidding. I was just like super happy for him as a person. I've never met Dominic Reyes, don't know the guy, but just for him to be able to persevere, that was incredible.
Man, we ain't got no horns in this motherfucker. Shout out to Dominic, man.
I think 90% of fighters probably retire after that.
Nigga, 99.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. If I go on a stretch like that, nigga, you have to have a conversation with me, nigga.
That was rough. No, it was really rough, because it stops being competitive at some point in time. It's, you can't take something back home like, okay, you did well in the first round and we just ended up losing the decision. Whatever, your cardio failed you. You got knocked out 3 times consecutive, and you start down yourself. It's the chin gone. Is my health gonna be okay later in life? To see him finally get back.
Big facts. And then to know that all the things you said, that's what he was dealing with, and still say, no, I'm still gonna go out there and do this because I love to do it. You gotta respect that.
Beautiful to see.
Yes, sir.
Good for Dominic Reyes, honestly. Then we had the main event. We had Jared Cannonier versus Nasruddin Imavov, number 4 versus number 7. Great fight for as long as it lasted. A lot
went all the way to the fourth round or the fourth round.
Fourth round. A lot of controversy in the finish, but it was a very competitive fight. I was intrigued because Cannonier is now 40. I think Cannonier is one of the best guys on the UFC roster. Honestly, regardless of weight class, he's just a real professional. You can tell he takes the conditioning seriously, the mental focus. His skills are super sharp. Very tough guy as well. It's just rare to have everything in one fighter.
Yeah.
So Jared Cannonier is somebody who I respect a lot. And then Nasruddin obviously is super talented young guy, good striker, decent grappling for sure. And
the IQ just a little low. IQ just a little low. He really thought he won that fight. That shit crazy. But anyway.
But with all that being said, it was great for as long as it lasted. It looked like Jared was kind of dominating the early going, and Nasruddin did make adjustments to make it more competitive towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, we got robbed of of what seemed like it could have been a 5-round classic.
Yes.
Jason Herzog was reffing that fight. I think he's a good ref. We all make mistakes. It happens.
Oh, definitely fumbled. Definitely fumbled, man. The bag for Cannonier. I feel like
for sure.
You talking about somebody like you said, 40 years old. We don't have that much time in MMA, especially when you hit that. Well, he don't like to say age. He level 40, right? But when you get to level 40, the game almost over.
Wait, is that what
when you get to level 40, that's about it.
Is that what Cannonier says?
That's what he says, right? But regardless, Jared Cannonier did put up an excellent fight. Like you said, very competitive. But in my opinion, Jared Cannonier was winning the whole time. And, he did a great job of landing a tremendous amount of leg kicks, right, on Nasruddin. So you had a lot of shots that, head shots and body shots, but the leg shots is actually what kind of made a difference in the fight. The control, right, up against the cage against Nasruddin, right? So having that cage control, all these things play a part while he's winning. But you let one moment change everything, right? But that's the thing. When they talk to us, they say, hey, if you get rocked or you get hurt, make sure you protect yourself, right? Keep your hands up. Keep your footwork going, right? Show me that you still in the fight. There was nothing in that fight that showed me that Jared didn't know where he was at. He knew exactly where he was when he got rocked. He said, ooh, let me get up out of here. Let me get some room. Let me put my hands up. There was no clean punches that Nasruddin threw that could have showed me like, oh, yeah, man, Cannonier finna, get knocked out real bad. He only landed one clean punch, then not even landed. He threw a fury, but it scraped the shoulder, scraped the forearms, because Jared Cannonier kept his hands up. So I don't know what Jason Herzog was looking at that made him want to stop the fight. But even if a fighter is stumbling and moving and wobbling, that's a part of the game, right? But as long as I'm coherent and I know where I'm at and I'm seeing them punches coming and I'm able to dodge and move, that doesn't give you the right to intervene. You understand? So with that being said, if I was Jared Cannonier and he would have stopped that fight, I would act like I was wired for real and would have rocked Jason Herzog. Oh yeah, I would have dropped it. Oh my bad, nigga, I was rocked. I ain't know what was going on. But at the end of the day, these refs got to realize you putting our careers on the line, right? Yes, it's okay to make a mistake, but I don't know what Jason Herzog was doing, bro. You looking at this man, he okay. He good. He doing as a fighter, doing the exact things that y'all need to see from us, and you still stop the fight. Definitely when you talk about title contention, right? You let things go. That's why I wish Herb Dean was in that motherfucker. Herb Dean would let that bitch slide, you know what I'm saying? Right? But when you have so much on the line, you got to let these fighters fight. You got to let us get it at, Because at the end of the day, yeah, you're supposed to protect us, but you're supposed to let us do our job as professionals. So, yeah, Jason Herzog was definitely tripping on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that I've seen plenty of fights I could list recent or,
I ain't gonna lie, that was the worst one to me.
No, but I've just seen that have gone on longer, fighters who are more hurt. And like I said, just for the magnitude of the style of fight it was, like you alluded to, somebody who's 40 years old, ranked number 4, fighting number 7, will Cannonier get this opportunity to ascend to another title shot, right? We may never see him in that moment again. Mm-hmm. For him to headline a card and get those opportunities, it could be fleeting, and who knows what happens at 41. Mm-hmm. Health, all these things play a factor. And unfortunate, the fight ends in some controversy. I thought also, not that it was intentional, but I thought Nasruddin fought a really good fight, but I don't want to take away from his performance. But I thought he also landed a shot that was back of the head in that sequence in the attempt to finish Jared Cannonier. He tries to throw kind of a looping shot arc, and it seems to hit Cannonier flush in the back of the head too, which didn't get addressed by Herzog. And sometimes fighters do land shots to the back of the head when somebody's ducking or dipping or trying to evade. And, in the fighter meetings, they say, if you're playing the game where you're dumping and dipping your head, that's on you. But Cannonier was trying to evade and moving his head this way, and it goes around. And I thought that played a factor. And then he was still moving and still coherent, trying to get his space. I think sometimes we were talking about this off camera, but people want to see you throw down when you're hurt, and that's the worst possible thing you can do. I think getting your distance and space, clearing the cobwebs is probably way smarter, and it seems that's what he was doing.
He did the exact thing he needed to do. Now, going back on the fight that we was talking about, right? With the Hulk and old Stouts, who got rocked with the elbow. They ain't do no defense. It was just all offense. So you see Cannonier, he's defense, blocking, shoulder rolling. I'm here. I'm seeing the punches. Why are you stopping the fight? He not just throwing. He not just dazed. He not looking up at the lights and not knowing where he at. Let this professional do his job and continue to fight on. Because there was no clean punch that Nasruddin was landing that you be like, all right, this is about that time, you know? There was no moment like that. And I don't want to put it out there like that, but at the end of the day, it's just certain things that I feel like for me personally, that's why I can't even allow guys to even catch me. I have to put myself in a position where I got to look at Jared Cannonier's story and be like, I can't allow that to be mine, right? Because they will do that to you. If they, not saying they, as in whoever, but regardless though, if you put yourself in a scenario where they can pick somebody else to be the winner, that's what they're going to do. I don't want to leave it up to the judges, you know, and I damn sure don't want to have the referee intervene in none of my fights. You always want to be able to control any dynamic in every moment within the fight. And yes, it is mixed martial arts. Anything can happen. But you have to put yourself in a position where, bro, you making the first move and the last move, right? I'm not going to give you no moves to make, you know. And if let you make a move, it's to set up to set you up with something different, you know. It's sad that we even have to think like that, but it's just the truth. I want to be able to put myself in a scenario where anytime I go out there, I'm always going to be successful, and I never allow anybody else to be in control of my career. Easier said than done, but that's my mentality every time I go out there.
No, I get it. I mean, I think it's just unfortunate. You know, as good as Cannonier is, Nasruddin is very talented as well, and that's why he got put in that predicament, in that position. And it's, you know, I get your perspective as somebody who's fighting in the UFC, but unfortunate, you don't get all of them right. Jason Herzog, I think, got the one wrong. But I think his perspective was just trying to, you know, protect the fighters, and that's cool. But when it's high stakes, it just sucks to see somebody.
Man, if he trying to protect nigga, he didn't protect me against Chris Curtis, nigga. That nigga let me boom, 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 boom. Nigga, I was waking up, going to sleep. Nigga, nah, I ain't trying to hear that shit.
That is hilarious.
Nah, but yeah, great night of fights in Kentucky. Oh, bro, then they broke St. Louis record.
Yeah.
I think by about 40 people and about $100,000. They got us by.
I thought there was like 1,000 less people. Or like 2,000.
No.
So
was it less?
We had 20 something, right?
Okay. No, we had 16 something. We had 16.
16, yeah.
Look them up real quick. Let's look up them numbers real quick. Let's look up these numbers real quick. We got time. Oh, no. They got no. Oh, I'm lying. I'm sorry. They got 19, so they almost got 20,000. And actually, they got us. They got us, yeah, but they did get us by 100,000 though.
Yeah, we had 17,000 or
so we had 16,000, but we did 2.4. They did 2.5.
Got you.
Yep.
You saying you change something?
No. Well, no, I guess 100,000. Depending on what them tickets look like, boy, you had motherfuckers in that nosebleeds, nigga, just having a good time. You hear me? Little extra 100,000 on that one.
But with that being said, back-to-back fight nights have broke records for attendance and for gate. What do you think about just the Apex kind of being finished, and what does that do for the state of fighters and building their careers?
I think it's going to be major. That's the whole point of being a professional fighter, is to fight in front of people, right? To build a fan base and to see or get thousands of people to watch you live, right? It's one thing to watch millions of people watching on their TV, but it's another thing for people to experience you literally right there in the arena. A lot of fighters don't like the Apex. Be honest with you, I love it too as well, because when I go out there, I can hear the instructions that need to be heard, right, to do what I need to do. But I've always been the type of fighter that brings that type of intensity no matter where I'm at, you know. But with being in a crowd and being with a sold-out arena, that energy just hits a little bit different, you know. So some fighters either shine under those lights or some guys, you know, crumble underneath them, right? So with me, I just think I think it's a big thing, not just for the fighters, but for the UFC, right? Because at the Apex, right, you only got a certain amount of, you know, tickets that you can sell in that small house. The UFC, bro, they making numbers, right? Every time, and the numbers just keep going up and up and up every single time. So I think this is more positive for the company, but as well, if you're a great fighter and you love to be a showman, it's also gonna be good for you. But what are you gonna do with that time, and what are you gonna do when you go out there and show out in front of fans? Are you gonna just go out there and be like, yeah, I had a good time and just walk out, or are you gonna really, put yourself in a position where you create a fan base?
Yeah, I think that like people want to see it live. It's nothing like when you have the crowd in the world. Like, think about some of Conor's early fights. He was able to have his countrymen come over and support him, and UFC was able to see what kind of star power that he had, and it just kept building upon itself, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. It's kind of hard to do at the Apex. I cornered one of your fights at the Apex. It's like eerie. You can hear the commentary team.
Yeah,
speak,
everybody.
It's so it's a different feel. Good advantage for if you're
fighter.
For a fighter, in corner, we're trying to get our our instructions out, which is good. But as far as for building your career, I don't think is as beneficial. And obviously for the company, like monetary incentive, it's probably awesome to keep breaking attendance records and really beneficial to keep doing bigger gates and all that stuff.
So speaking on that, now they collab. Well, they already own us, right? The TKO. But now you finally seeing where WWE was collabing with the UFC for the first time.
Oh, really?
Right? So you had, I don't know the wrestlers like that. I'm not really keeping up with those guys like that, but I need to, though, now. But, you saw these two brothers who I guess are like tag team, champions. But, they talking to Jared Cannonier. They, having fun with him and all this other type of stuff. But that's the type of transition that you can see where the sport is going. And the more that you start to recognize that and start to evolve yourself, and I'm talking about fighters, y'all, they need to understand that this is still the entertainment business, right? The reason why we go out there is, yes, to put on exciting fights, because that's always the first thing. But realize if you really want to promote yourself, you got to put yourself out there a little bit more. You got to be more engaging. You have to be more, let's say, not even a character, but whoever you are, be that person.
Yeah, you gotta perform.
You gotta perform, right? But it's not it is. So the perform part is always in the cage, but show people who you are outside of the cage.
Your personality.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what kind of character are you? At the end of the day, and that's what I think a lot of UFC fighters are lacking in. And to be honest with you, it's not that they don't know who they are. Like, they either not comfortable being that person in front of everybody, or they haven't really put themselves in a situation where they're able to get their voice heard, right? Jared Cannonier is a great example, right? I think Jared Cannonier could have been a great star for the UFC if his voice was heard a little bit more, right? Because he's a very interesting individual. I wonder if he still got them rocks.
The stones?
Them stones. But regardless, though, like the way that his mentality is, how he carries himself, I ain't gonna lie, that walkout song that he had, I think it was some Star Wars shit. I think that was trash. But his demeanor, no, I think that shit was trash. But his demeanor and how he walks out, right? It's like every little thing you want to make, because I'm still a fan of this sport, right? I'm not just a fighter, I'm still a fan as well. So when I see even little things, I love to watch people walk out just to see whatever's different. But the energy that Jared Cannonier brings is so much different than other fighters, right? But I really feel like, unfortunately, the MMA markets out there don't shed a light on that, and people just don't see it for what it is. They see that he's an exciting fighter, obviously being a killer gorilla, but who is Jared Cannonier? People don't know, right? So I feel like, even fighters that are out there that do have a good personality, do have a good character, they just don't have that light on them, right? And if you don't have that light on, sometimes you got to put it on yourself, right? You got to go out there and you got to speak your truth. Like for me, I'm not on big shows all the time. I'm not on, MMA Junkie, all the time. I'm not on the Mac, right? But at the same time, I still work to put myself out, to the people and show who I am as a person more than just a fighter. Because at the end of the day, that's how you build a community. That's how you build a fan base. Is like, who are you? Like, why would I want to follow you in the first place? If I'm just watching you fight, I can see that anytime when you fight. But if I'm going to follow you more than that, I want to figure out who you are. So that's why I'm glad that we're doing stuff like this, so I can really show people who I am as a person, to really kind of build up that, that solid foundation we always talk about.
And I'm sure as a fan, you having that memory card being like, oh, July 5th, in Denver, Colorado, I saw Max Holloway fight this person, and I always remember that. It's different when you see it at home at the Apex, you have 20,000 people who have that memory forever, and the first time they saw you, now they want to see all the other fights because maybe they weren't there to see you. Maybe they were there to see Cannonier, and you're a fighter who's the first guy in the card, but you have a memorable knockout or a great performance, and those fans will remember you forever. So building that star power, creating a brand, and being a household name, I feel like that starts with the fans who are there first, and then it translates to everybody at home later.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Bruh, you watch that Roku channel docuseries for the UFC, bro?
No, I've just seen the ads. I didn't watch it.
Boy, Dana out here flexing on all of us, boy. All that money he making, I ain't gonna lie to you, boy. He doing his thing. But the docuseries, I think, is pretty cool because it kind of gives people inside look on how the business is ran. A lot of people don't really get it or understand that we don't control what fights get made. It's up to the UFC, right? They got this thing called the War Room, and they got a lot of lists of names, right, that they put together. They got dates of where they want to fight, when they want to fight, and who should fight each other. The only thing that us fighters control is whether we want to fight or not. That's it, right? But a lot of people got to see how a lot of fights were set up, and they just seeing like John Jones and Stipe fight got set up with John Jones being with Hunter just outside with it on the parking lot. Like, hey, what you think about the Stipe fight, bro?
Right.
How you want to set that up, right? But it gives another light to a lot of people because they think it's so much that go behind it when it's kind of really some simple stuff, right? We just doing it at the highest level, right? With being with Mick Manning, with being with Sean Shelby, Hunter Campbell, and Dana White. Having them connections, man, to set up your fights is a beautiful thing, but they the ones that got to call us. We don't set up nothing. I can be barking for a fight all day long, but it's not until they want something or what their interest is, and if they want to set it up, that's when we get that phone call. But there was a lot of little hot takes in there, right? They trying to put on for Sean O'Malley, putting on for Alex Pereira. A lot of good names was getting dropped, you know what I'm saying, in the docuseries. But one thing I find funny was the Aljamain situation, right? Aljamain didn't want to fight Sean at the time because he was dealing with like an injury or something like that, right? And they kept pushing and pushing and pushing for the narrative. Like, hey, bro, like, look, if you fight this man, you're going to get all his followers. You know what I'm saying? Like, he doing real good. He messing with 6ix9ine in them. You know what I'm saying? He coloring his hair, so he got a big fan base. Aljamain like, man, I don't know, bro. I ain't ready. And they was like, look, if you don't take this, not even if you don't take the fight, right? Aljamain felt like he was being forced to take the fight, which Dana would tell you all the time. You don't force nobody's hand. It's either you feel like you ready or you're not ready, but you have the option to say no. You can opt out at any given moment. But a lot of fighters feel like that the UFC kind of put them in a position where they got to say yes. But I think that docuseries was meant to say, like, nah, y'all control that. Y'all say yes or no. All we do is put somebody in front of y'all. Y'all either want it or y'all don't. You understand what I'm saying? And I really feel like at the end of the day, a lot of these fighters feel like they be getting set up to lose, which I love. This one thing that Dana say. He said, we can't set you up to lose. That's your choice whether you win or lose. That's on you. All we doing is putting a name in front of you. But I feel like a lot of fighters not built like that to have that mentality that they'll fight anybody because everybody is very selective on how they want to go about their fights and how they want to get to the goal, right? That docuseries kind of showed me how Dana was flexing on all us fighters because at the end of the day, they make all the rules. But at the end of the day, we going to set you up with who we set you up with. There ain't going to be no choice besides you just to say no or yes to it, right? So it don't matter what you talk about stylistic-wise or the matchup-wise. If you feel like you the best in the world, then stand on business. That's the biggest thing. That's what he was trying to show like in that docuseries the whole time. And I feel like for me, I've always been that type of fighter. It don't matter who you match me up with. We going to stand on business. As long as I feel good and I'm ready and I ain't got no hurt injuries or nothing like that, I'm always going to show up and fight on mine. But I really feel like a lot of fighters in this situation, like I said, they be trying to pick and choose and they run into a scenario where, like, damn, the UFC trying to set me up. That ain't how it is, bro. They just trying to do their job and put on the best fights that they feel like they can make possible. But I really feel like the UFC fighters entirely, a lot of these dudes don't believe in themselves when it comes to certain situations, and they feel like, okay, I want to do this fight instead of the other one because if I'm making this type of amount of money, I'd rather fight the lesser competition.
Of course.
Right? That's the business of a fighter. But I really feel like if you really feel like you're the best in the world, it don't matter who you fight. As long as that person can help elevate you in your game, then that's the beautiful part about it, you know? So once you get to that part where, you know, every person that you fight is progressing you in your career, then that's a good look, right? So with that docuseries being shown, I really feel like the UFC kind of showed how they do things behind closed doors and really kind of just gave people a closer look at what they do, right? And to be honest with you, ain't nothing like no rocket science or nothing that they've been doing. They just put these great fights together and they try to match up the best people in the world. But at the same time, it's the fighters that usually don't make the fights happen. That's kind of what they showed.
Of course. Why would you? There's a team of people who get paid to do that.
Yeah.
If you could fight Leon Edwards tomorrow, you would, right? I'm sure everybody wants the ranked guy, the most notable person. Like, let's even think. Random fighter wins their fight and they call for big name fighter. Do they always get them? They don't, because it has to make sense, right? They have to put on fights that make sense for the fans and make sense for the business model. And I like that the insight was shown, because a lot of people will say, oh, you don't want to fight this person. It's like, if it's not offered to me, two people have to say yes, right?
Yes.
If there's no contract or no paperwork, the fight's not going to happen. I can want whatever I want. You can want whatever you want. But until two people agree to fight and then there's a contract signed, there is no fight. So I think oftentimes fans do miss that aspect of it.
Oh, they miss it completely.
We see it on, I'll see it online. We're like, oh, you're ducking this guy. You're ducking this guy. And then if some people had inside information, they understand that. Never offered. I can't duck what's not offered to me.
Yeah. But and that's 102. But they show niggas ducking.
Oh, it happens. Well, that happens.
They expose niggas ducking. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Well,
Huh?
What they show ducking?
Well, it's not initially that they put it out there, but it was fights that should have been made but never got made. Shavkat versus Kamaru Usman. They talked about this fight. Now, at first, they was talking about, now Ali doing his job. He trying to make some money for Usman, He about to fight this undefeated kid in Abu Dhabi. Like, yeah, bro, you got to pay us. Dana was like, nigga, we going to get you your money. We going to get you a little something. And, what's beautiful, Habib was in the conversation as well. But it's like, yeah, this is the job of, a former champion, man, to get these young guys an opportunity. Like, nigga, what opportunity you gave at Habib? Nigga, you know what I'm saying? What the young bucks you fought? But regardless, though, it's just like, showing that Shavkat and Usman was supposed to fight a year ago, but funny enough, Usman fought, and who did he fight? He fought Hamzat. He replaced Paulo Costa within that fight, but he should have fought Shavkat. So what was Shavkat in this whole conversation? So if they wanted to set that fight up, they got both their numbers. Why they never said it, but why didn't that fight get set up? Shavkat is the one, in my opinion, that ducked that fight. That's the only thing that makes sense to me.
I can't speak on.
I can speak on a lot.
No, you speak on whatever you want to.
Yeah.
I'm not policing. I'm just saying. But that does happen too. Where if I say I want to fight a list of five, well, let's say you say you want to fight a list of 5 guys, somebody has to say yes. Mm-hmm. So inherently, if nobody says yes, what we would call quote unquote ducking, that's ducking.
Yeah.
Right. You could call out you. I mean, this is even the funnier part, and this is like for you. You've called out a lot of guys over the years,
man. Oh my God,
and it rarely,
I ain't got one. Not rarely, nigga. I ain't got one.
So it's just kind of funny, you know. Like I think oftentimes guys are so protective of their ranking or their status that they oftentimes don't want to risk that potential loss against a fighter. I wouldn't even say it's rooted in fear. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's fear of losing status more than losing the fight itself.
So, and what's kind of sad, though, for real, when you think about it, we're going to pick on Shavkat because that's the, I've been calling Shavkat out. Now, Shavkat was supposed to fight JDM. JDM, I think, is ranked a little bit under Shavkat. I think JDM number 5 or number 6 in the world. But obviously broke his arm. So they had that fight set up. I don't think they had anything in contract, but JDM called him out. Shavkat accepted it. So you had 2 fighters that was willing to fight each other. Beautiful, right? Exactly what we was talking about. JDM gets hurt. I raise my hand, say, hey, I can fill in for that one, right? Because at the end of the day, you still want to fight. You still have yourself in a position where you can be activated and you can make some money. Even though I'm lower in the rankings, I'm still ranked. I really don't believe that if you go down more of a ranking, whatever, that is going to hurt you as long as you still rank. Now, if you fight an unranked dude, now that's a big, big risk because now you got to fight to even get back into it. But if you fight number 6 it's not gonna be any worse if you fight number 11, number 12. It's not to me, right? Because number 12 can still fight number 4 if anything was to happen. There's not a lot of situations where you just see where 15 go after 14 and go after 13, right? They mix them all the time. They mix up people all the time. As long as you in the rankings, you good. So I really feel like, what are you ducking and dodging? Because you can't be the ranking. It can't be that situation because you was already going back. You understand? You was still fighting somebody that was a lesser ranking than you. You understand? So you fighting me, I don't feel like it's a bigger difference. But people just not going to call it for what it is. Shavkat know that if we get into the goddamn cage with one another, he going to have a very difficult time because I did his teammates dirty, right? That's all the people that he trained with Vicente Luque, Andre Fiallo, and also Impa. I did all your boys dirty. You like, man, I ain't, look, because these some tough boys he training with. Like, damn, he did my niggas like that. Like, no, I ain't trying to see that. So with Shavkat, he trying to make the most, and that's good for him, being smart, making the smartest decision. Like, no, let me keep going where I'm going because I'm at the route of the belt. But I want to tell fighters right now, that belt ain't promised to nobody. Just because you can wait all day on anything, but don't mean you finna get served. You just right there waiting. You know what I'm saying? You ain't even got a glass of water yet. You trying to get a menu. But they serving other people. So at the end of the day, go get whatever you can get when you have the opportunity. So me and Shavkat could have ran it, but he chose not to. So when he talks about Usman and Kobe ducking him, right? What you doing with me then? Because I'm accepting the fight with you. Beating me still puts you in a good position because I'm still a good name, right? Shavkat winning against me still puts him in a good position to even fight for the belt next because then, yet again, it proves who he is, right? But yet again, losing to me or losing to anybody, matter of fact, my bad, let me take myself out of it. You fight Kobe, you fight Usman, you lose, then what? Same shit. You at the bottom. A loss is never determined by the person that you fight. A loss is a loss. So for you to be nervous about losing to me and anything of that nature, it's just like, it's not going to set you back any further if you lose from Usman or Kobe. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, to me, a loss is a loss.
I agree.
If you get knocked out, you get knocked out no matter who you fight, no matter who, if he in the ranking or not.
I agree.
It's still going to go viral on ESPN. I'm going to let you go.
No, that's funny. I agree, but there is some variance to it. Like, I was talking to my brother and we were discussing Poirier versus Makhachev, and I said, I love Dustin. I'm a big fan. You know, we watched that documentary, Fightville or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, that's old.
Yeah. Like, I saw Dustin Poirier fighting on the regional circuit, and then to see him where he's at today, to see that is amazing and beautiful. Just to see that transition going from fighting on the regional circuit to seeing him in the UFC, fighting as a 45er, then becoming a household name at 155 and doing his thing, right? But the 55, the lightweight division, and a little bit in the welterweight division, we saw this like sort of round robin musical chairs being happened, the shuffle, right? It was like Dustin fights Justin Gaethje, they fight Khabib, they fight Charles Oliveira, fight Michael Chandler, but they never let a new name in. Finally, Benoit Saint Denis finally sneaks in, and then he ends up losing. He fumbles that bag, right? We see that 170. This guy fights Wonderboy, then he fights Kobe, then he fights Masvidal, they fight Kobe Covington. It's like the same guys fighting the same guys. Well, if I'm number 12, how am I ever going to get in the dance if you won't fight me? So you're just shuffling numbers. 4 fights 5,
right.
5 fights 7,
right.
3 fights 4. And I think that does happen a lot. And I don't think it's due to fear, but they rather lose to themselves than to let the next guy kind of in. Because I saw it for years at 155. It's just kind of annoying. I'm like, can we now with Dustin Poirier losing, not that I'm happy that he lost, but now we maybe get to see the Armin Tsarukyan fight. Now maybe and eventually we get to see Mateusz Gamrot fight. So it opens up the door.
But you know what people fail to realize? Number 12 get a title shot too.
Hey, if you're big enough.
Usyk? What rank was he? 11?
But see, that's
Jamal?
That is true.
I'm just saying that it's some names that I can give.
Perfect opportunity.
So as long as you rank. Who?
When he beat Luke Rockhold.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor too.
He was calling for it, right? Yet again, you gotta be personable. You gotta call your shots. You gotta shoot your shots. You know, as we say. a lot of these fighters be failing to realize it don't matter what you ranked. If you in the rankings, that's a beautiful situation. Period. If you fight another ranked person, that's a beautiful, because that means if I lose, I should get they rank, whatever. I'm just back at if I'm at 15, shit, at least I'm 15. Work my way back up instead of just being out, right?
Yeah.
Because now you don't know how many other people that you got to fight in order to even get yourself in that situation, you know? So that's all I'm saying, man. These guys got to stop, figuring out like this strategy on how to fight each other, man. And let's just fight, bro. Let's just run these numbers up. That's it. Let's go.
Thank you for watching the Brick Brothers podcast. Appreciate it. Please like, share, and subscribe. Be a brick.